What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Xtra Innings Podcast. Your host, Elijah. We're back today, another episode. So in the last hour or so, there's been some interesting news in Major League Baseball for 2026. It's kind of been it hasn't really left the forefront. People have been talking about it now since they put it in spring training. It was in the All-Star game. So cat's out the bag. ABS, automated ball and strikes, will be used starting in 2026. So that was announced literally an hour ago. I don't know. I was taking care of something, and all of a sudden I got the notification. MLB stopped their broadcast. They've been talking about it. Pretty crazy. So that's going to probably start off the episode. I had a couple other pieces, but that's going to be the main thing. So again, ABS is entering Major League Baseball in 2026. Now, the rules of that, it's very similar to the replay, the challenge, right? Which I'm all for the challenge because too many umpires miss calls. And honestly, the thing with the challenge, right? So I think you get one each, and if you get it right, you retain it. You lose if it's not right. You challenge the wrong call, the umpire got it right, you lose the challenge. Fair, right? Pretty similar to the NFL. I think NFL gets a challenge once a half. Or once in the first half, and the second half they get another one. Same concept. They get it right, they keep it. They get it wrong, they lose the chance to challenge. So I think that's a fair system. I think it's pretty similar. So for the ABS, this is on MLB.com. First question is, how many challenges does each team receive? Each team will start the game with 2 challenges apiece. Fair enough. Next question, do teams get an extra challenge in extra innings? I didn't think about that. If a game goes into extra innings, any team that starts the extra inning out of challenges will get 1 challenge for the 10th inning. If they exhaust that challenge, they will then get another challenge for the 11th, and so on. If a team has challenges remaining at the start of the 10th inning, they will not get an additional challenge for that inning, though they will for any subsequent inning if they are out of challenges at the start of the inning. So basically, no, you're getting 1 in extra innings for every extra inning you play. Will the ABS challenge system be used in every MLB game at every ballpark? Yes. And during the postseason? Also, yes. Who can issue a challenge? The batter, the pitcher, the catcher can challenge an umpire's call. No one else, not even the manager, may do so. So it's the batter, pitcher, catcher. That's pretty interesting. So the manager can't call it. It's got to be someone directly in that play. Challenges must be made immediately after the umpire's call without assistance from the dugout or other players. So it's got to be instantaneous. How is a challenge issued? The player taps his cap or helmet. There's been a lot of jokes about that. Cap or helmet to alert the umpire desire to challenge the call. How is the call reviewed? An animated pitch result graphic will show, which we've seen now in the All-Star game. We saw it in spring training. Are successful challenges retained? Yes, the team only loses a challenge if the umpire's call is confirmed. Okay. So I immediately went to Twitter to see how people are gauging it. They're playing polls on MLB. Apparently, a lot of people are for the automated strike zone. And this whole conversation is a lot deeper than just the automated strike zone. Let me explain why. So I've had beef. I've had beef with umpires now for quite some time, in the sense that they aren't held accountable to their actions, their performance. Yes, there's a grade at the end of every game. Yes, you can see how well they did, but there's not really any consequence. Like Angel Hernandez was in the league for years and was you knew how bad he was. I think you could pick somebody up off the street and put him behind the plate, and he might do the same or a little bit better than Angel Hernandez. And then they finally let him go. He was going to sue. There was a whole mess with that, and they finally just released him. Said, "Well, we'd rather pay you to not umpire games." That's how bad that got. Now, the problem with that is that the umpires have a union, and MLB can't do anything to them regarding their performances. And that's how I understood it. That's how I've understood it up to this point. And that sucks. That sucks because you got guys that are going to continuously be bad, and the only people that get, that it's really going to hurt are the players, because the umpire can go out there and keep blowing calls left and right, and nothing happens. They'll get another game tomorrow, and they'll get another game in a couple of days. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, and it never made sense to me. I've always wondered, like, why aren't umpires held to the same kind of like standards that the players are? You got minor league umpires that are working their way up, and then you have the best of the best in the big leagues, and that's how it should be. But apparently that's not, and apparently that's against the union rules. They can't do that. And I don't know why. It's protection, sure, maybe a little bit, but at some point, like this whole thing, you got people like a lot of people are upset. Some people are like, it takes away the human element. I don't know if it takes away the human element because technically the umpires are still calling the game. I don't think umpires will ever leave baseball. There's been a lot of people like, eventually umpires are going to be there. I think umpires will always be in baseball. I don't think that'll ever go away. No matter what they want to do, no matter how bad they get, there will always be umpires in baseball. That's just always going to be it. It's just always going to have it. I think that this, an unpopular opinion going off of what I just said regarding umpires, I think that this does good for the game. This is good for baseball because now these umpires are going to know, on top of some of these calls that they're blowing on the field, which they now have replay review, which is great. I'm all for the replay review. And then in all honesty, like I've seen some calls, guys, like where it's like there's no way the human eye can tell if he was safe or out. There's just some bang bang plays at first that I'm just like, how can you? Like, and those are the ones where you're like, we need replay for those situations. Like there's just no way that you're going to be able to see like there's just no, it's just no way. Like there's somewhere it's like, I mean, it is so close. And of course, like no human eye is going to really be able to do that successfully over and over. It's just not going to happen, right? So I'm good for those. But this is solely on the umpires. This is solely their fault for not holding themselves accountable, for not being able to make changes or actually do something about performance reviews, because this is solely that. If they were better at their job, there'd be no need. The game would have faith in the umpires to make the right call. But there's just too many bad calls being made that are actually affecting. Because if you think about it, if you get a strikeout call in the bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, some of these calls at the beginning of the game, maybe not. But in some situations, like, yeah, a bad call going one way or the other can actually influence the game. It can change the trajectory of the game all the way through. And I think that having these guys held accountable and making sure that they're getting the call right is huge for the game. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And people who are upset, I understand why you're upset and I get it. But at the same time, the umpires did this to themselves. But all in all the way through, I think that this is totally good for the game. I think this is great. It's needed. I mean, I've seen so many calls this year alone that I'm just like, Jesus, there's no way. There's no way you thought that was, I mean, and it goes both ways. But again, I think this is great for the game. For 2026, it's going to be interesting. But no, I don't think this takes away from the human aspect of the game. Personally, I don't think it does. So it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully they'll release some more information about it. I don't know why it came out today all of a sudden. I mean, this is like straight up breaking news, right? So yeah. But moving on away from the umpires now, the Mets are no longer in the postseason. If you look at the playoff picture today with the Reds, now even with the Mets, they have lost their spot in the playoffs. Again, I mean, there's still a week left to ball. I mean, there's no question. Let me see. Oh, so the Mets, let's see what their schedule is. I know this week they lost 2 to the Nats on some crazy plays in the outfield by that guy who was juggling the ball. He did it again last night. And in all honesty, I don't know if he's just a bad outfielder, but some of those look like it. I don't know. But they lost 2 of 3 from the Nats. They took 2 out of 3 from San Diego last week. And today they're starting a 3-game set with the Cubs, who the Cubs struggled to beat the Reds last week. I think they couldn't scrape one run. So right now, the Mets are not in the postseason. And that is, man, with that, I mean, I don't even, what do you say? I've seen some famous reactions. That Frank guy from Barstool having an absolute meltdown. KFC from Barstool also having a meltdown. I mean, the payroll is huge, man. The payroll is so high. Who's texting me here? Hold on. Got some conversations going about the ball, the strike zone. But I mean, the payroll is so high. Let me see this real quick. I found an article from the Washington Post. Again, you can't even forget the fact that they went and paid $1 billion for Juan Soto in the offseason. extended, or they did whatever they did for Pete Alonso. They have Lindor. They've got Francisco Alvarez. He's not really a star or anything, but I mean the lineup alone is enough to, Brandon Nimmo, Cedric Mullins. I mean, we can go on, but they got Manaea. They have, they went and got Clay Holmes. Like, they got Ryan Helsley at the deadline. Like, they got all these. They spent so much money. And I think, honestly, okay, Edwin Diaz is another one. I'm looking at it here. Okay, and aside, Juan Soto, and I saw some people that are like, the Mets are out of, I go on socials and I read some of this stuff. And it's like, well, where's your $1 million man or your $1 billion guy? Well, okay, Juan Soto, bad year, good year, was never going to be the end-all, be-all. Let's just be honest. He's one guy. You look at any team, he could have had the season that Aaron Judge or Cal Raleigh are having, and it wouldn't have mattered because there's 8 other guys. Juan Soto can't come up and hit 4 jacks, and your pitching staff give up as many as they've given up and think that you're still going to win games. It's just not going to happen. He's one guy, right? So there's only so much that he was going to do. So you can't, the Juan Soto entering the conversation doesn't make much sense for me. It's just like, yeah, okay, they spent a lot of money on Juan Soto. Stupid, maybe, but he was never going to save the season. He was never going to be the guy, anyway, and it was just never going to be it. I just never believed that Juan Soto was going to be the savior that everyone thought that he was going to be. It just wasn't going to happen. So, but here's the thing. They have all this pitching. They went and got the Ryan Helsley, who has done nothing for the Mets as of late. Their bullpen has been bad. They've been relying on Stanek, who hasn't done much. I mean, it just isn't. Reed Deadline isn't good. I mean, right now, the bullpen ERA, Helsley, Rogers, Soto, to Diaz, Ryan Stanek, and Reed Garrett has a 4.31 ERA. Can't win ball games like that. And here's the other thing. I think it's awesome that they went and have pulled up all these rookies. Sprout, McLean, Tong. It's exciting. These guys are good. They're green. I think McLean, out of all 3 of those guys, is the one that feels the most big league ready. Tong still struggles a bit with a little bit of command. I've watched both. I watched 2 of his 3. I didn't watch the one where he didn't make it out of the first against. I forgot who it was against, but I saw his one against Miami, his first, and then I saw his last one. And it was good. It was decent. It wasn't bad. He just misses some spots. Still a little shaky. Would I trust him in a postseason game? Sprout, I've only seen the highlights from his start. I didn't see it all the way through, so I can't speak on that. But I've seen the highlights, and yeah, he's good. He's good. But again, when it comes to what you need for the Mets, they need a deep run. Like, for how much they've spent, for how much their payroll is, the fans aren't going to be happy with a wild card and out. They're not going to be happy with a DS and out. I know they made it to the championship series last year and lost to LA. Listen, they have spent so much money that it's World Series or bust, and the fans feel the same way. I mean, and honestly, looking at it here, it is. But they've played so bad as of late. Errors on top of errors, and can't scratch one run against Washington. I mean, it is really hard to watch them and think that they've got it. I think they're one of the only teams when they're down going into the 9th, they're 0 and whatever. They cannot win. If you take them into the 9th with a lead, meaning your team has a lead against the Mets, 100% you're probably going to win. That's not winning baseball, and they have all the pieces to do it, which is why it's just like one of the craziest things. And I just saw it again because they're playing a replay of the game from the 20th against Washington. Pete Alonso can't toss the ball on a PFP to first base. He hurt Senga doing it. He's overlaunched it. He did it again to McLean, and McLean had to jump, and he didn't touch the bag. That shit like that just doesn't fly. And it's ironic coming from a Yankee fan because they suck at defense too, and that's my team. But all the way through, because I could say ample things about how bad the Yankees have been playing. They've done a lot better as of late, but let's not forget the entire summer that was just horrid. The amount of money they're spending, they need it to be better. And you can't go into the postseason relying on 3 rookies to make it happen. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So do I think they can still do it? Like I said, they've got a couple games against, where is it? They got a couple games against the Cubs, and then they're going into the Marlins. The Marlins have won 6 straight. So again, Marlins aren't the slouch. Yeah, they played kind of bad all year, but as of late, they've been okay. They're one of those teams that can ruin your day. They can ruin your season. And to face them at the end, if they lose and they don't take 2 out of 3 and make their way back in the postseason, it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. I still think they can do it. If I had to root for them against some other teams, I would. They've just been too shaky as of late. Way too shaky. Moving into another team that I think is collapsing on themselves. Sadly, but I have some thoughts. Pull up the article here. The Detroit Tigers. Tigers have a 1-game lead over the Guardians. Going into today, the Braves, the Braves DFA Charlie Morton. They just picked. I'm sorry. The Tigers DFA Charlie Morton, which the Braves just picked him up. For in the final week of the season. Braves, I don't quite know what they're going to do much of that, but okay. I was listening to MLB Network today, and the Tigers haven't been playing very good ball as of late. And here's the thing: a lot of people said the Tigers were really good, and at the beginning of the year they started off strong. I'll give it to them, all right? But they got a big series right now against Cleveland because Cleveland is 1 game back. Cleveland has been playing some hot baseball all the way through, and then they got the Red Sox this weekend, who are also capable of doing some damage if you let them. So they've got a tough week ahead of them. 6 straight games, 2 series against some pretty tough ball clubs. This is going to sound like a dick move. It's going to sound real bad. I just never thought that the Tigers were ever really that good. You watch them play, they're okay. They're all right. I mean, they're not the worst team you've ever seen, but they're also not the greatest. You're relying on Javi Baez, who is having a resurrection year, was an all-star this year. Sure, great. But again, he's still not the Baez from 16. You're relying on Casey Mize, who's been in the bullpen, has made his way out. He's done okay. But aside from Mize and Skubal, who else you got? Let's look at the roster. Pull this up for you. Kyle Finnegan, Jack Flaherty, who's okay. Holton, Hunter, Canely, Melton, Mize, Montero, Paddock, Sewald, Skubal, and Vest, right? But the pitching staff seems to be their strongest point. Flaherty, Paddock, Skubal, and Mize. And, I mean, the bullpen's it's okay. It's all right. But look, Gleyber Torres, who's probably their strongest, who's had a lot better of a year than he did last year. Torkelson, Sweeney, McKinstry, Chase Young, Andy Ibanez, and behind the plate you have Dingler and Rogers. Then you got Baez, Carpenter, Riley Green, who's decent, Parker Meadows, Jamal Jones, and Wensil Perez, right? So now let's look at the stats. So you've seen all those. I mean, it's like mid. I mean, it's just a mid team. You got a couple guys that can do it, a couple that can't, right? So Riley Green's batting 259, Torkelson, whatever, batting 243. Let's lead by average, right? So they're 2 leaders. You got 261 is the highest batting average, and that's by Gleyber Torres. Then you got McKinstry, Riley Green at 259, and then Spencer Torkelson at 243. Those are the highest batting averages. Again, it's okay. It's average. It's decent. It's not the worst. It's all right. I mean, Javi Baez is now batting 252. Not bad. Parker Meadows, 221. Jake Rogers, 83. I mean, it's not great. It's not great, right? So let's look at the pitching staff. Skubal with the 223. Flaherty with a 4.6. That's elevated. That's not great. 8-14. Not the year he had last year. Nice. 391, 14-6. Not bad. And then you got Vest, 315. And then you look at these, the ERAs after that are just, they're high. They're high. 223 for Skubal. Flaherty at a 4.6. Mize at a 3.91, almost a 4. Vest at a 3.15. Okay. But he's only at 65 innings. You know, your big eaters are Skubal, Flaherty, Mize. And then it's kind of down from there. Adair Montero, 4.48. Reese Olson, 3.15. Let me see. Canely's at a 4.3. Morton's at a 7.09. That's going into this thing with the Braves. I mean, he's been a 7.09, man. Not good. Jackson Jobe, 4.22. I think he's hurt. He was good, but he's hurt. Paddock, 6.12. Rafael Montero, 3.10. Not bad. Yeah. Maya at a 7.88. I mean, the ERAs are not good to make it. You got a 2.23, and then after that, it's mid-city. So did I ever think that they were really that good? I think they had great chemistry. I think they had a lot of good chemistry. I think that they're a decent ball club, but put up against some of these other guys, I'm not surprised they are where they are. And I'd be shocked. I think Cleveland is a stronger team, all in all. I think Cleveland, and they always kind of, Cleveland always kind of puts together this last minute push. They always do. They did it last year, and the Yankees took it to them. Because again, and that's the thing, right? These teams, the Tigers, the Guardians, like they're good, they're okay. But when you put them against a team like the Yankees, against the Dodgers, the Padres, it's a night and day difference, and you see it, right? So again, I think that the Tigers collapse is a little too far. I think that's too far, but it'll be interesting to see what exactly they're able to scrounge together as we head into this last week. Now, something that I haven't talked about yet because I have not wanted to talk about it. I'm trying to figure out how do I introduce this topic. I'm just gonna say it. AL MVP, Judge, Raleigh. And think it's anybody else's comical. Don't even bring anybody else up. It's between Judge and Raleigh. Now, if you look at the stats, let me find this thing. All right, let's see. Hold on. I gotta get this right. Oh, here we go. Stat head. This is what we need. That's what we need right here. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. Let's take out the fact that I'm a Yankee fan. Put it over there. We're not even gonna use that as an excuse, because when it comes to MVP, I'm really not using any of that bias. Fuck. All right. Raleigh, however you say his name, is having a career year. As a catcher, it's unseen. You haven't seen anybody do that since probably Johnny Bench, and I don't even know if it's comparable, right? But again, everyone and their mom is like, "Oh my gosh, if it's given to Judge, it's a popularity contest. Raleigh is doing this as a catcher who's we've never seen it before, and he's a catcher switch hitter, blah blah blah, setting all these team records." And okay, sure, whatever. Let's look at, and again, people are like, "Well, the stat. No, let's not talk about stats. It's not about stats." It is 1,000% about stats through and through. It's about stats. Well, Raleigh's a position player and Judge doesn't do a whole lot in the outfield. They're both position players. Yes, he's a catcher. He's going to have more effect on the game. He gets the ball every single pitch. Come on. Judge, he's been hurt for a little bit. Had the elbow problem, missed about 4 weeks. Okay. Again, let's look at the stats, because that is what this is. American League most valuable player all the way through. They're both position players. They play different positions. Comparing the two positions is not a fair shot. So eliminate that completely, and let's look at how they hit the stats. Here we go. WAR, 6.9, Cal Raleigh, 9 to Aaron Judge, 1 for Judge. Games, again, 153. Judge missed about 4 weeks, so he's at 146. I don't think games played should matter. If it was a big difference, like if we're talking like Raleigh's played 153 and Judge has only played 70, okay, then eliminate it. It's not even a talk. Plate appearances, 678, 652. So even at the point that Judge missed all those games, he's only 26 bats behind, plate appearances behind Raleigh. Okay. Hits, Aaron Judge 170, Raleigh 141. Home runs, 58 to Raleigh, 49 to Judge. Again, Judge missed 4 weeks. If he doesn't miss those 4 weeks, I'm sure that they're neck and neck there. RBIs, 121, 105. Okay, that's a case for Raleigh. Okay, sure. Right there. You got me there. Stolen bases, 14 to Raleigh, 12 to Judge. Okay. And now this is where it is the clean sweep for Aaron Judge. Batting average, 326. Batting average for Raleigh, 247. Now let me stop right there and let me give some thoughts on that. To be a valuable player, you can't be homer or nothing. You can't. You can't. You have to be able to hit your hitting. It's not homer or nothing. Does Raleigh always hit a homer? No, but majority of the time it's homer or out. He gets a couple hits here and there. You're not going to be batting 247 and not get a couple hits, but you're talking almost that's an 80-point difference in batting average. That alone should be the key, a big piece. Because, RBIs are big. Stolen bases, whatever, 2 ahead. Home runs, okay. But again, 49 and 58. Judge missed some time. So I'd count probably 8, 9 home runs that are missing from Judge there. But hits alone, he's 30 hits higher than Raleigh. That's big. But batting average alone plays a big aspect to that. 6 to 247. 247, I don't even know how you're considered an MVP batting below 250. 100% honest with you. I don't know how you can be considered an AL runner batting 247. I just don't see it. You're hitting a lot of home runs. Great, man. That's awesome. But what are you doing the times that you're not hitting a jack? That's a big one. OBP, 451, 360 to Cali. Judge wins in that one again. Slugging, even with all the home runs that Raleigh hits. 672 to Judge. And another big one. And before we get to the big one I'm talking, which is OPS. OPS plus, yeah. But OPS plus 209 to 169 Raleigh. So 209 goes to Judge. And then the big one. I mean, this is a big one. You're talking almost 200 points here. 49. Wait, again, I'm not trying to undermine this man's season. He's had a great year. 58 home runs is great. For a catcher, unheard of. Awesome. But you have a 949 and Judge has a 1.123. I don't know why I said almost 200. It's about 100 more. A little. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a big difference. A 1-dot season wins the MVP, in my opinion. The 1-dot season wins the MVP. So a lot of people are going back and forth. Well, if it's a popularity, it's this. If Judge gets it, it's a popularity contest for the Yankees, blah, blah, blah. He's a catcher. He's more important. The stats matter. The stats matter for the MVP, and they always will. Whether you want to admit it or not, people love to hate the Yankees. Let's just call it for what it is. You love to hate the Yankees. A lot of people do. Rightfully so. Evil Empire, not so much as of late. They haven't won shit since 2009. It's hard to still think of them as the Evil Empire, but people love to watch them lose, just like people love to watch the Dallas Cowboys lose. It's the same concept. It's the same thing. If Dak Prescott happened to have a phenomenal year, it'd be really hard for people to want to give it to him because it's the Dallas Cowboys. Same concept here. It's the New York Yankees, and Judge has already won it, and Judge has had consistently good years up to this point that people are like, we want to see somebody else win it. You're entitled to that opinion. I still personally think, again, Yankee fan aside, I'm going off the stat. I just read all the stats. Judge takes MVP, and he deserves the MVP. He's I mean, right now, if you were to take the stats together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 for Raleigh, 7 to Judge. Judge is the better player. Hurt for 4 weeks too, and still has better stats. Still has better batting average. Still has a better OPS. Has a better slugging percentage. Better on base percentage. How do you argue? And I don't know. But that's it. That's my thought on it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I get heated because people don't quite know all that goes into this. There it is. That's my opinion. Judge should win the MVP. We'll find out sooner or later. And either way you go, people are going to have an issue with it, I'm sure. It'll be interesting to see. Now, heated, bro. Heated. Now, before we sign off, before we give it up, we got some bubble teams to talk about. Some bubble teams. And I've talked about bubble teams the last couple episodes because we're at the point where we've got a really tight wild card race. It's easier for me to pull up the standings on my phone. I don't like to use my phone, but I'm going to pull it up because it's easier. Pull it up here. What we got? Let's see. Okay, right now. So the postseason picture, and last week it changed, but right now we've got Cleveland. If it ended today, we've got New York, Boston on this is in the American League. New York, Boston, Detroit, Cleveland in the wild card with Seattle in the DS and Toronto in the DS. I don't think those are going to change. Maybe they will. I don't know. This will be an interesting week. On the other side of things, on the National League, we've got the Reds and the Dodgers, the Padres and the Cubs, and in the DS, you got the Phillies and the Brewers. No argument there. But this is where things get interesting. So right now, Cleveland and Houston are even, with Cleveland having the advantage, so they're in the postseason right now. Cleveland, as we saw earlier, is playing, I forgot who I'm talking about, but they're playing a good series against Detroit. And then Houston is obviously even. Do I think Houston has a chance? I was talking to a friend, an Astros fan, this past weekend because the Astros lost big to the Mariners. I mean, it was like I think Crawford hit a bomb, and then Raleigh hit a home run. It was 7-0 in the second. It was bad. It was real bad. But they have the Angels and the Athletics. I don't know what order. I know I looked up their schedule. So do they have the chance to get up on some games? And if the Tigers give hell to the Guardians, it's plausible. Excuse me, it's definitely plausible. There's definitely a chance. I'm not going to sit here and say that there's not a chance, because there's definitely a chance. Whoa. I think there's definitely a chance that Houston can get back in it. It's going to depend on how well they can play, though. So that's the tight race right now between Cleveland and Houston. When you go over to the NL, it's kind of a three-way thing. And again, I kind of hit on this last week. So you got Cincinnati, and the Mets are even right now, with the advantage to Cincinnati, the Reds, who are currently holding that wild card spot. The Mets have the Cubs. I need to check who Cincinnati has. Let me see if I can get their schedule. Typing with one hand is not good. Cincinnati. They have the Pirates today. Oh, shoot. So they got the Pirates. They'll probably, if I had to guess, lose to Skeens on tomorrow. I don't know who they have today. I know Hunter Green will get one of those games. But it's hard to think that the Reds aren't going to take 2 of 3 from the Pirates. So that's one thing. And again, I think that Skeens will be the only loss they have. The Mets, again, I don't know who the Mets have. I know I said it already. I'm not going to talk about it because whatever. And then you have AZ, who's 1 game back from the Mets and Cincinnati, right? So here's where it gets tough. I think that Arizona has a great ball club. And surprisingly, they dealt Suarez, Naylor, Miller, Montgomery, Kelly. They sold at the deadline. They sold so many pieces, and it actually, funny enough, gave them like space to bring up Blaze Alexander, who has played great. Jerry Perdomo, who's been playing great as well. I mean, having a great year. Marte's solid as always. They got Gabby Moreno. They picked up James McCann, who was a sleeper, who really just has done a lot for them. And then obviously the outfield pieces or whatever. The bullpen is obviously the Achilles heel for them, as it is with a lot of teams. I think that they sold not knowing exactly what they were going to be doing at this point of the year. And now that they've made it here and they're a game out and there's a chance, they're kind of like, well, shit, let's try to do something. But the bullpen just can't really handle a lot of pressure, it seems like. You got a couple pieces that can get the job done, and when they do get the job done, it's solid. But the consistency is a problem. And I think, personally, if I'm being all the way honest, and it hurts my heart to say this, it really does. It really does. But I've been proven wrong. I've been proven wrong before. I think Cincinnati's going to keep that spot. I don't know how much Cincinnati really makes it, because they're going to play LA in the first round, and I don't think Cincinnati's a ball club that can handle LA like that. And a 2 out of 3, I think pitching wise, they get bested. So I don't know necessarily. I mean, whoever gets that wild card spot is going to be put to the gauntlet because it's LA. Has LA been playing the best baseball? No. But do they have the pieces that are capable of playing great baseball? Yeah. And when the lights turn on for the postseason, LA is going to, the Dodgers are going to be there, and they're going to play really well. They're going to play good ball. They always have. All last year, you watched them play great ball all the way up to that World Series, and they continued it through the World Series. So it's whoever gets that wild card spot is going to be, it's going to be tough. You're not getting a slouch, right? And that's, Cincinnati has a good ball club. I think they've been really inconsistent. I think that their staff is decent. I think moving Chase Burns to the bullpen was a good move. They got Abbott, they've got Singer, they got Riley, they got Hunter Green. They got Hunter Green. They got 3 decent starters that they can do some stuff with, but I think the bullpen is okay. I know Santillan, however you pronounce his name, been closing a lot of games for them, and he's done a good job. But other than that, I don't really know much. I mean, that guy, what's his name? That guy almost threw the no-hitter. That guy, whatever his name is, I'm blanking. He's decent coming out of the bullpen. Like, they have okay. They're okay. But again, star power to star power, I think LA takes them. Be honest. I don't have enough faith that the Mets are going to come through. I just don't. I don't. And it's going to be, if you're a Mets fan, I'm so sorry. But that's going to be a tough, it's going to be a tough week. They have not been playing confident baseball. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do it. I really don't. But again, I have opinions, and I've been proven wrong before. And then the last one is AZ, Arizona Diamondbacks. Probably my second favorite team in baseball right now. I just like the fact that they were able to do what they've done now with the pieces they had. I mean, you had Zach Gallen, who you couldn't give him away at the deadline. He's come back and has pitched like his former self, and he's looked really good. And you've got, Eduardo Rodriguez, who's done okay, and Brandon Pfaadt, who pitched last week into the 9th inning and threw all 9, and then somehow they still lost. So they've got the pieces. They're performing like they should have been all year. It's a little late, but they're performing like they should have. It's just going to kind of be one of those things where you're just like, will they? Can they? They've got LA and then San Diego. So it's not like they have an easy path. They're not playing like the Nats, and they're not playing like the Rockies. Like it's one of those things where they have to be near perfect. And if they're near perfect and other teams drop the ball, it's going to get real interesting. It's going to get real interesting. And that's I'm so excited to watch baseball tonight and really the rest of the week. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. But yeah, that's kind of it. I think Cincinnati keeps it. And I think that, and it's not even that I have anything against the D-backs. Like I said, I'm a fan. They have to be perfect. And that's hard for anyone. That's hard for any team to do. They have to be near perfect against the Dodgers and the Padres. The Padres haven't been playing the greatest baseball. They clinched, whatever. They just haven't been playing great ball. So could could Arizona come in and sweep them? Yeah, they could. But they got to get past this series is the one that makes me nervous, and that's against the Dodgers. So we're going to see. But once again, guys, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. If you're tuning in, if you tuned in on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think is going to run away with this wild card? Who do you think is going to take it all? I don't know. It'll be interesting. But be sure to follow us on socials, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on there posting shorts of the episodes. If you're on Spotify, Apple, rate the podcast. It does a lot for the algorithm. It helps us out over here. So thank you. Appreciate it if you can do that. Again, trying to get more episodes out. It's about to heat up. Postseason starts next week. I'm pumped. Best time of the year. I've said it before. I say it all the time. Best days of the year are Christmas, postseason starting, and then opening day. So it'll be great. It's going to be awesome. If you're not sure what's happening, tune in, watch baseball this week, especially the Mets, the Reds, the Mets, the Reds, and the Diamondbacks. Watch those games. It's gonna be a really tough tale. And then, of course, watch your Astros and watch Cleveland tonight against Detroit. A lot of good games are happening, man. Don't miss it. It's an exciting time. But once again, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.